would. No, easily half the people here. Remarkable. Sandy Sheine was the longest tenured president of COMA. She was president for almost 20 years. So she is was a revered member of COMA. She is one of the original members of COMA, and she's only recently passed. So I think the ideal person to give us a little tribute for Sandy is one of our other original members, Lowen. Roz, please.
Thank you. I just found out that Sandy passed away about a week ago, but she actually died at the end of December last year. So I prepared this little presentation.
I'm going to adjust your mic real quick first.
Oh, okay. Sandy and Jerry did a lot of traveling, and they went on, in 1970, they went on a trip to Alaska, and they were out in the field photographing mushrooms, and this man came up to them and said, "Are you interested in mushrooms?" Well, it turned out that it was Joe Zarnicki, and I don't know how many of you knew about him. But he had a restaurant in Reading, Pennsylvania, and he was well known, he served wild mushroom dinners. So Joe told the Sheines about the mushroom organization, about NAMA really. And when they went back to New York, they lived in Westchester County at the time, and I don't know if this, just a minute, no. I thought I had another slide here. They took some mushroom classes to find out more about mushrooming. And then Sam Ristich was asked to teach a course in mushrooming at the New York Botanical Garden. And I was taking a class in plant identification at that time. And so was Carol Sheine. I had met Carol Levine. I met her in the class, and she came into the class one day and said, "There's this amazing man teaching mushrooms. You've got to talk your way into the class. There's only standing room only." So I did. Well, it turned out that there were about 30 people in the class, and when the class was over, Sam was having such a good time teaching us that he didn't want to stop. So he worked for Boyce Thompson, and he invited us to continue learning about mushrooms at Boyce Thompson. And he continued leading us out in the woods to look for mushrooms. Well, Bud and Ann Schwartz lived in Connecticut at the time, and they decided to organize a mushroom club. And that was the start of COMA. So it was originally the Connecticut Mycological Association. But they moved to Maine in 1997, and Sandy became president the next year. And so she was president from 1978 to 2000, I have 2020, it was 2000, when the Sheines moved to Michigan. And Jerry was always the technical assistant, helping everybody with the microscopes and the computers. And Sandy was a teacher at Woodlands High School in Greenberg. And she taught while she was teaching, she would take time and teach a lot of mushroom classes. And she was actually responsible for naming the forays, the Rogerson foray for COMA, and for name of the Sam Ristich foray. And she was soon on the board of trustees of NAMA, and she was the education chairman. So one of the wonderful things that she did was she assembled kits to be loaned out for teachers to use to teach about mushrooms. Because, you know, in the schools at that time, there was very little education about fungi. So in 1987, Gary Lincoff and Manny Salzman organized the trip to go to Israel. And there were only about 10 of us on that trip. But this is a picture of Sandy hiking there. And look at the two of us with the COMA shirt sitting on the rocks. It was a fabulous experience. I don't know who the man is with his back to us, but the next one over is Manny Salzman, and peeking through is Marge, and that's Sandy in the white shirt, and Elinoar Shavit was partially hidden by Gary. And here's another picture of the group with Elinoar in the dark and the black, and Sandy in the front, and Jerry across the table, Gary in the front, and then that was Ursula Hoffman is it on your right? Yeah. Ursula was a long-time recorder for COMA, and I think for some other forays as well. I think she belonged to the New York club too. And this is not what I wanted to say. Was I wanted to tell a story about Sandy. They moved to, after she retired from teaching, they moved to Pound Ridge, and I was living in Bedford Village, or near Bedford Village. And so we did get together quite often. And one time I was driving through Bedford Village and I saw a chicken of the woods growing on a tree nearby. So, but it looked like it was immature, so I waited a couple of days, and I was kind of watching it, and finally I decided it was time to pick it. So I went to get it, and it was gone. And so I was telling Sandy this story, and she said, "Yeah, I picked it." Does anybody else have any stories about Sandy that they want to share? Anybody remember anything? Well, she was really a great mentor. She was very good with the members of COMA. She knew everybody's name, and Sandy and Jerry went on a lot of trips with Rolf Singer, and Gary and Manny had trips all over the world that they went on. So so Sandy was instrumental in really establishing COMA as the really great club that it is. And we started, our foray started at White Memorial Foundation. And there, we slept, there were two bunkhouses, one for the men and one for the women. And there was a member who cooked the food for us. And yeah, it was really quite primitive, but we had such a good time. And anyway, look at us now. We're here at this really nice place, and we have to be grateful to Sandy Sheine for that. So, thank you.
Yeah, Russ, I just had one additional story about Sandy. I think many people don't know this, but when I was a NEMP trustee, I still am, but when I started, I guess it was 1988 was my first year as a NEMP trustee. Sandy was all about students and teaching, right? So she and I communicated quite a bit, and then she got, as you say, that position with NAMA, and I was in touch with her about that a lot because I was teaching my college at the time, and she and I came up with the idea of having a NEMP scholarship. And she was the one that made the motion in 2000. We came up with the idea in 1999, we posted to the board, and she made the motion in 2000 to create the NEMP Scholarship Committee. So I always will thank her for that support.
Thank you for mentoring that too. Anybody else? Arlene?
No, I'm sorry, I'm just hopping.
Somebody gonna introduce?
Yeah, we've got a couple minutes. Do we want to wait for any latecomers or?